Don't leave me hanging. It's go time.
Hey everybody, it's Josh, and I'm bringing you this game as part of the group stages from the Intel Extreme Masters Tournament being played in Cologne, Germany for the Gamescom 2010 gaming show and convention. And these are the group stages, like I just said, and TLO's group consists of himself, WhiteRa, and Cloud, the Italian Terran player. So I'm not going to spoil any of the games aside from the series that's being played right now. So TLO against WhiteRa. This is game 2 of their best of 3 for group play. TLO actually does have a 1-game advantage already. This is game 2. And we saw some nice Banshee, Raven, Hellion, Bio mix. He built basically everything to fight off the 3-gate Robo army of WhiteRa. But game 2, anything could happen here on Delta Quadrant. WhiteRa does spawn down here in the bottom left, and TLO, or the little one, down here on the bottom right. You'll notice WhiteRa's name is actually DuckloadRa. It's kind of a long story, but basically it's just a sponsorship where WhiteRa has agreed to play as DuckloadRa for the first, at least, portion of retail. So WhiteRa actually gets an early scout out, gonna find TLO really quickly, and this forward barracks is actually a little interesting and unusual out of TLO, because usually the barracks will be sitting back a little bit further. Actually, I have not seen TLO play on Delta Quadrant, I think, ever, so I'm not sure exactly what his strategies against Protoss are on this map. WhiteRa, on the other hand, I think we can expect 2 or 3 gateways in a robotics facility or fast void rays. Like I said in the other game, they've been called White Raws, White Rays, Void Raws, whatever. He really likes Void Rays, and people have assigned nicknames to him for that reason. But the little one, just throwing up a refinery at normal time as soon as that, actually before the barracks finishes. Actually, he might have been a little slow on that refinery. Usually that refinery is done by now, and he can get his orbital command right away, so not sure what the holdup there was. Gets that last SCV before switching over to the orbital command. See him do that every time. Gets a couple of Marines out early. Factory probably going to be his next thing that he builds. TLO actually sending his SCV in the wrong scouting pattern. Not going to find WhiteRa just yet. WhiteRa knows exactly where TLO is. He has a probe hanging out front here and is sending a Zealot across the map now. Also adding on that Cybernetics Core, very standard build. Pylon Gateway Assimilator, Pylon Cybernetics Core, and lots of probes. So both players sticking to their guns, doing their very normal builds. TLO actually did not do this last time. He did not add a tech lab quite as quickly, so maybe going to be going for some early Marine and Marauder shenanigans before he gets a factory up. He does almost have enough gas. No, he doesn't. Spending gas instead on Marauders early instead of getting that factory up as quickly as possible. So getting that Marauder out, it looks like WhiteRa is just going to be parked outside with these 2 Zealots. Not really. Maybe he is intending to go in, but maybe just wants to test the front of TLO to see what's going on. He spots a couple of Marines and a Marauder popping out. Ooh, if that Marauder had concussive shells, he would be able to kite these Zealots indefinitely, but TLO is not researching that just yet. His gas is actually piling up pretty high. He got up to 150 there, and usually we see TLO be a little more streamlined than that. Not sure what he's going to be building next. And the Zealot basically just gets a run around and not do anything. He just gets blocked by SCVs and killed by Marines and Marauders. And a Stalker now shows up for WhiteRa, but it looks like a Marauder popped out at the perfect time for TLO to ward him off as well. No concussive shells being researched. Oh, finally we see a factory come down on the production tab. I spotted that, and looks like he's building 2 factories? No, that was a mistake. He's building a barracks instead. 2 factories is a little interesting, but looks like WhiteRa is going to be going for that 1-gate robotics facility and then teching on 2 more gateways, just like we saw in game 1. Warp gate tech is about 3/4 done, and you know, this didn't yield the best results for WhiteRa last game. He actually expanded shortly after he got that 3rd gateway up and running. Not sure if he's going to be able to do that this time or choose to do that. But the little one does have his first factory finished now. Is he going to throw in an add-on? No, he's actually throwing up 2 starports now and a tech lab, so we'll probably be seeing the return of Banshees here. Just getting this tech lab most likely so he can flip a starport onto it. He could actually flip both starports onto, you know, this tech lab here and the tech lab up at this barracks. I'm surprised TLO has not gotten any upgrades for his bio. You know, stim packs or concussive shells alone are well worth the money, and it's a little interesting to me to see that he is not going for either of those just yet. Oh, what is this? I just glanced at the production tab. It looks like WhiteRa is getting a warp prism, so going to be changing it up a little bit. Instead of getting the observer first, getting that early warp prism, try and do some dropping shenanigans or warp in shenanigans. This is great for him actually, because he can come back here, drop those units that he has, and just warp in units over and over and over, sneak right up this ramp and start killing off supply depots. We'll see if he uses this warp prism to its fullest advantage. He loads it up with 4 zealots. We'll see exactly where he ends up placing it. Looks like TLO does have more than enough forces to take out 4 zealots, and soon he'll have 2 banshees here ready to take those on as well. But where is he going to drop? He skipped over the spot I suggested, so not sure what he's going to be doing here. Going straight into the mineral line, it seems. Yes, just doing a parachute drop with these 4 zealots, getting them kind of spread out so that they can kill some SCVs. He got 1 that I saw. Just trying to count the number of explosions here. Looks like 1 was about it, and then he picked them all back up. This Hellion was very quick to respond, so WhiteRa just got 1 SCV and hightailed it out of there. Banshee's coming out all the time now for the little one. He's already got 2 on the field. Looks like out here in this front of TLO, not really much is going on. WhiteRa does have an observer out now. I'm not sure where this warp prism is going either. So WhiteRa, actually don't see him use warp prism too often unless he's doing immortal drops and things like that. So it looks like he's trying to use it as a scout right now. Very expensive scout of glass warp prism filled with 4 zealots, so if that gets caught out in the open, could be very bad for him. But looks like Little One actually used a supply drop again this game. He was forced to do it last time when he got a little bit blocked. Hellion testing the front of WhiteRa there just real quick, but he sees those tier 1 units and backs off. Looks like WhiteRa did have some split forces so that he could protect this Nexus going up, initially at least. But looks like the Little One is on the move here. He's got quite a lot of Marines and Marauders and 3 Banshees. This pretty much spelled death for WhiteRa in Game 1. And looks like the Warp Prism actually did return with some Zealots. One of them did go down. He's left a Banshee and a Hellion there to defend against these Zealots. He might get a couple of SCV kills, but now the Little One is arriving at WhiteRa's front, and so WhiteRa has bigger problems and is trying to kill some SCVs now with that Warp Prism. TLO getting... oh, he did not have quite a sweet Banshee micro as he did last game. 2 Banshees go down very quickly. All the bio actually getting trapped under force fields. Not sure if he's going to be able to continue this push. Might just want to run away, yeah. And these 2 units are forfeit as they're going to go down. But TLO actually not getting a very good exchange at all there. So now this Warp Prism actually becomes much more valuable and important. Warping in 2 more Zealots there to keep TLO from mining. So I said WhiteRa had bigger things to worry about, but some very nice Sentry and Stalker micro actually prevented TLO from doing much damage. And now WhiteRa has arrived in the base of TLO, going to try and do some damage of his own. This Warp Prism is still alive just because TLO didn't have really adequate anti-air. Looks like WhiteRa kind of just forgot about it now, though, and is going to try and pick off some Tech Labs and whatever units he gets a hold of. But 3 Banshees, again, they do really go 4 Banshees now, and a Viking, actually. So TLO has a lot of very high DPS units. He's got SCVs there to repair whatever they need to, and a couple of Hellions here to help out and just soak up a couple of shots for these Marines and Banshees. So the Banshees really are the most important part here. If he can kill off all the anti-air, it looks like he's doing a good job of it, then this Immortal will have no defense against those Banshees, and WhiteRa is on the run again from these 2 SCVs, 4 bio units, 1 Viking, and 4 Banshees. He's keeping the Observer with the Banshees, which is great because he doesn't know if TLO has Cloak Research. He doesn't, but he could. And 2 Phoenixes here actually going to be able to take out 2 of those Banshees really quickly. Another Banshee goes down. The last Banshee finally goes down. The Viking too slow to kill off these Phoenixes, and the Zealots ward off the bio units. So TLO actually has had 2 rather large, big, sizable pushes here towards WhiteRa's front and has not gone anywhere with them. He's getting 2 more Banshees now. Just looking around if he's trying to expand or anything. He's not. It looks like he's just adding on another barracks now, sticking with this 1 base play. Looks like WhiteRa is building another Warp Prism. His Nexus should be online by now. Yeah, it is, and it has a cannon already prepared just in case Banshees try to fly around to the back. And he's adding on another gateway here. He does have that Stargate we saw those Phoenixes come out of earlier. He's sending in his Observer back just to keep tabs on TLO, so WhiteRa repelling TLO over and over. Doing a good job to just stay alive in general, and TLO sitting here with just some bio units and Banshees waiting for his next opportunity to go push again, but WhiteRa getting a good look at everything that's going on. TLO's command center just hanging out pretty good, staying under 50 energy, always good. And his barracks is finally going to float back here. He's tired of having those units of WhiteRa come up the ramp and keep killing off that tech lab. But some Banshees, some Phoenixes and a Zealot now show up for WhiteRa. I'm not sure what he's hoping to accomplish here. These Phoenixes are going to fall really fast to these Marines. The Zealot didn't get a chance to do anything. Oh, Warp Prism snuck in the back. I knew that he was building it, but I did not see him actually come in here. So just terrorizing the mineral line of TLO all game long. This Warp Prism staying alive surprisingly long with all these Marines in the vicinity, but those Zealots actually didn't get too much work done. This Zealot is getting some free kills there on some Marines, but now TLO has no threat in his mineral line and can respond to that like he's supposed to. A couple of Vikings flying around now. Those will help ward off Warp Prism and Phoenixes. I'm looking, looks like TLO actually did just drop a scan. Looks like he might be preparing to do some work with these Banshees here soon, and he does have a sizable force again. TLO sitting at 65 food, WhiteRa at 65, very, very even. WhiteRa sending a Zealot all around the map just to make sure TLO isn't expanding to anywhere crazy. His command center has landed now at his natural, and he starts to saturate it with some SCVs there. The Air Force of TLO actually arrives first. Yes, he needs to pull those back and wait for the ground forces for support. You can't just have those Banshees fly in. But, oh, it looks like WhiteRa has totally shifted away from anti-air. He's got no anti-air in the area, only one Phoenix on the way. Oh, there's two Phoenixes zooming in from out of view. These two Vikings are going to help ward those off pretty easily, and the help from the Marines, of course. Killing off these Phoenixes very quickly is his priority. There he goes. The Banshees kill the Immortal, and the Marines kill the Phoenixes. Very good tandem there. A couple of Banshees still up. They are starting to go down. This Viking kills off the last Phoenix. There's only one Stalker and a cannon left for WhiteRa in terms of anti-air, but TLO does have quite a few units here, and they're going to run around unchecked for quite a while. Ooh, WhiteRa, don't like this move. He warps in two Zealots right there in the front. They take a lot of damage while warping in and don't even get a chance to do any damage. WhiteRa actually starts warping in units here in the back, which I like a lot better than just warping them in right in the front. But still not very effective. That sentry goes down. The Stalker probably not going to be able to do much either. A Zealot now up, but that Banshee just destroys it very quickly. And more Zealots warping in for WhiteRa. TLO has not supported just yet. He's staying near that ramp so that these Marines can show up and give support as soon as they arrive. Probes being pulled for WhiteRa, fighting that off. I hope WhiteRa doesn't feel comfortable right now because TLO is not going anywhere. Oh, a Colossus comes out for WhiteRa and gets just a couple of shots off before those three Vikings of TLO are able to take it out. There's some nice Banshee micro, keeping that red health Banshee away from that Phoenix. Man, it looks like WhiteRa is really on the ropes here. It looks like those two Phoenixes do go down. TLO still unchecked with lots of Marines and a couple of Banshees here. These Vikings are going to prevent any Phoenixes from really doing anything to those Banshees, and the Marines doing very well against the ground forces. If another Colossus were to pop out, those Vikings would do a good job against that. So really nice unit mixture here from TLO. He is falling short now in Marines, but more are showing up all the time for support. Viking now showing up as well. So TLO basically just killing off WhiteRa's units as he warps them in, and whenever the units are dead, he gets free shots on these gateways and pylons. So in a very good position here, even with just a handful of units. More units being warped in for WhiteRa all the time. This Banshee may or may not go down here. The Viking support seems to have all but disappeared. And two Banshees and a handful of Marines are going to get some free shots on some pylons now. Staying away from the cannons, doing a good job staying away from that cannon. He does move in now to try and kill off these Stalkers, but they're just luring the Marines into the cannons. They're soft, squishy Marines. But, oh, another pylon goes down and unpowers these two Stargates and the Forge. TLO realizes now that there's an expansion back here and that it's very well, very undefended, very easily attacked. Going to start shooting away with these Marines and Banshees out of range of this single cannon. So this Nexus is definitely going to go down. There's nothing WhiteRa can really do about it. He's got 3 Stalkers and a Sentry and a Zealot trying to pin these in. This last Marine stays behind to finish off the Nexus. Good job by TLO. He only has a couple of Banshees and a handful of Marines throughout this entire engagement, but WhiteRa does type out single Gs at a time, G, G, and TLO responds G. So very good game by TLO.